Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Today my presentation topic is the phenomena of the slip of the tongue with reference to the psycholinguistics. Slip of the tongue is actually not a disorder or impediment that occurs due to the brain. Due according to the certain psychologists, it occurs by when our brain has a certain kinds of difficulties during their trances of certain words. Means when we speak, we already have an image of that utterances in our mind. So what happens that in a connected speech means we always speak fast, means fluently, but this fluency sometimes leads to a very funny phenomena, like that is sometimes funny and sometimes weird. It depends upon the situations and the different personalities. The slip of the tongue is actually something like saying while you are doing conversation or saying something that you say by accident when you intended to say something else. Means you are saying something else but accidentally you said something else. For example, there is a person who is reading a newspaper and there's news about the sport, the football match, like Chelsea who won the match. But when he is reading this news, he said Chelsea had lost by a goal. Chelsea had lost by a goal instead of saying they had won by a goal. Like this is the slip of the tongue. Okay, I accidentally called John by his brother's name. It was just a slip of the tongue. A slip of the tongue is actually a small mistake you make when you are speaking. Actually, it is not an error that you commit by an intention that cannot be corrected. A slip of the tongue is just actually the like unintentional. It happens and due to the result of our unconscious mind. Like we have a set of different kinds of patterns of conversation in our mind, the prerequisite. But when we are speaking, we accidentally like utter some of the sentences or the words or the parts of the words accidentally. This is slip of the tongue. Another definition that was given that a slip of the tongue is a mistake. If you remember, I already said that it is not an error. Actually, it is a mistake, a small mistake. Okay. For example, instead of I said leg of the limb, my tongue slips, and in a hurry I said limb of the leg. Victoria from Ken, who said that slip of the tongue are often the result of a sound being carried over from one word to the next word. Well, for example, in the next slide, I will give you the example of this phenomena. Like although the slips are mostly treated as errors of articulation. Okay, articulation means when the act of saying something, the act of uttering the words. It has been suggested that they may result from slips of the brain. If you remember when I was starting the presentation, I told you that we are going to talk about something we already have, the image of that conversation, the image of that thing in our mind. It happens due to our conscious and the brain fails to communicate or fails to operate the different parts of our tongue, due to which the slip of the tongue happens. Okay, as it tries to recognize the linguistic messages. Let's move to the example. For example, if I am saying that black box, but instead of black box, I told you in the previous definition that it happens when we are moving from one word towards another word. The first one is black and the other is box, and I move from the black box, and instead of it I articulate or I said black blocks. Now it happens due to the instant fluency in our speech. Okay, the judge whose conception about the tip of the tongue was there, like he believes that when a brain and the tongue deny to work in accordance, slips of the tongue occur. I mean, all the other parts of our body are controlled ultimately by the brain. It is the function of a brain that helps them to operate correctly. If the brain fails to operate correctly and gives the and it does not respond to the tongue, the slip of the tongue usually happens. In psycholinguistic, tongue slips are one kind of speech errors, which are regarded mostly as errors of articulation. When we are talking about the connected speech, we cannot neglect the importance of the junctures. Junctures is nothing but a pause in a conversation. For example, the different kinds of ambiguities, the semantic ambiguities occurs if I speak too fluently and then the learners, it may create ambiguity for the learners. For example, the sex teacup. Sex teacup, I means sex teacup. But if I said it much more fluently, it will confuse the listeners. I'm talking about the 60 cup. 60 means the term that comes after the 50. It happens due to the not giving any pause during the conversation, due to which the slip of the tongue occur. Now, the different kinds of speech errors are the following. Like the first one is spoonerism, already stated according to the William Spooner. Like spoonerism is they follow the interchanging of initial consonants of two words. The tongue is malapropism are caused by the confusion of the two similar sounds. Okay, so repetition is already told that when we are talking at a much more fluency, it creates the different kinds of ambiguities are the problems for the listeners to listen to us or to understand the terminology, which we mostly repeat the different sentences or the different words during our speech. The anticipations, perhaps the initial consonants when replaced by the initial consonants of the second word, and the second one is perhaps the deletions, like when the whole consonant is totally lost. For example, mostly the d sound. The sound means the voice the sounds, the process sounds is mostly neglected or it is deleted during the conversation. Mostly the similar means the synonym substitutes the other words as they have the similar effect or similar meaning. But when we are talking or we are doing conversations, we actually articulate another word instead of the word that we have intention to pronounce. Like summarize the whole topics in a few graphs is this, like the most common speech errors which disrupt ideal delivery are pausing and hesitations, and we mostly repeat the same word many times when we are talking or doing conversations, and perhaps this stutters. Tongue slip is one type of speech errors which often occurs when speakers are mostly fatigued, or is perhaps when the person who is speaking is drunk or nervous about something. As I said earlier, when we talk to the cross genders in a Pakistani sense or the Asian context, we mostly hesitate and we are nervous that what will be her reaction regarding the conversation that we are going to talk to her. Like it is the result of problems in controlling the speech production processes. Okay, that's all from my side. Thank you. I hope you have understood the concept of the slip of the